We got here. We got I'm looking high Harry the Houdini. I'm smoking Look at this. What's going on there? Shit, my poo. Hey, man. I want to toot horn, but it's not my horn. I want to just brag about it, but I can't because it's not. I didn't come up with it. And it's given to me. I'm going through experiences right now. Some experiences. Huh. I figured out. Not me. Okay, I didn't figure it out. Okay, I was somehow a door open to knowledge, and the Lord gave it to me. Jesus or something. Yeah, Jesus. And God gave me the Holy Spirit. Okay, give me the thought for the day. At least I got the thought for the day because I don't know what tomorrow will bring if I'll think different. But today's stuff, I think I'll maybe have it all figured out. But experience tells me that when you think you got it all figured out, you ain't knowing shit. That's what I learned. Because I have felt this way before. And I didn't know nothing. Huh. So, I don't know. But I'm going to express it just because it's a good feeling. It's interesting. Yeah, and what was it? I smoked a little bit of ganja. A little bit. And I wrecked my life. We're going to talk about that, okay? We'll just talk about what the Lord give me, okay? And the ability to look at things in multiple ways rather than with judgment, and then considering I'm the victim. You know, to be thankful. Okay, so to be thankful fights against that, because when you're thankful, how are you gonna be the victim? You can't be the victim of somebody that's thankful because they have 2 arms, 2 legs, and thankful because they're not as hard off as the next person, right? Because I could be just as well off that next person right there. You know why? Because this has a lot to do with judgment, I guess, and that's what I learned. That they didn't pick their body, they didn't pick their little meat suit, and they didn't have to pick their parents, right? So if you don't pick those things and you just by chance get them, I could have very well been them. They could have very well been me. So instead of judging on them about whatnots, I should just be over here and thankful for what I did get. Thank you. That's some things I got. Just popped in my head. Yeah. I feel like the Lord talked to me, but I don't want to. You guys judge me and say I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting though that. And this other thing came to me. It's not exactly what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about all kinds of things. Strength. Forgiveness. What forgiveness does. Forgiveness is huge power. It's huge power. It's very interesting, the power that forgiveness, being a forgiving person, will give you. Because we judge ourselves against our morals when we get in a bad spot. Okay, so I was in a bad spot. I was so mad. Okay, if we want to talk about what I did, we don't want to talk about that. Okay, I wrecked my life. Okay, and I slid. Okay, so backslide is an interesting thing too, because I picture your parents growing you up in the forest, and in that forest you make a path, and it makes a ditch. That path that you cruise through every day in your lifestyle is that path, and it's a ditch of a lifestyle, because it's you make it easy to cruise around wherever you go, and you got little berms and stuff, and you can just a little bunny hop on or whatever you want to do, you got whatever, but it's smooth and it's comfortable, and you can fly through your environment, like any animal. Can I go? I was picturing a monkey, okay? Climbing through the trees, but it didn't have to be a monkey. It could be anything, whatever you like. Squirrel, could be the squirrel. Yeah. But in that ditch that you guys create, or that path that's comfortable, where all the bark's off the trees or whatever you do, and it keeps your little hands soft, whatever it takes. All right, that's where you excel. Okay, and that's your life. You grow up with your parents, and then when you get older, you think, oh man, I don't like this spot very much. I want to move on up, like the Jeffersons. Okay, it's recording. I did this video already almost one time. All right, and I was going to take all the credit and everything, and it did not record. And I think I got another lesson right there. I think that was another lesson. Because it didn't record. There's just nothing there. I was like, what the heck? And then I had to be humble, and I had to give the credit to the Lord, and I had to give I had to give the things that they're due. And I didn't in the beginning. I was taking the excitement, and I just ran with it like it was smiling, but it wasn't. But anyways, it's recording, so it'll be all right. And then like Jefferson's, I was moving on up, and we were all moving on up, trying. We may not like aspects of our trail, and we wanted to see what Johnny's trail was like. But when you move on up, there's no path. Okay, it's just a forest, and you're gonna have to cruise and meet new bugs, and people when you get there are gonna be like, you don't fit in, bro. You walk funny, and you smell funny, and your big toe sticks out. And then from there, we can run back to our old forest, and say, hi, them people are mean, and they don't like me, and stand on your soapbox in life, and just and stand on your decision, okay? And that's a strength, okay? That's about strength, to stand there and be unwilling to be changed, okay? And that's a strength. If you're already a good person and you're a good, comfortable spot and with what you need and everything, that could be a strength, because people could push you off of that, and that wouldn't be strong, that'd be weak, right? Or you could be a victim of your own behavior, but deflecting it and not taking responsibility, and you could be standing on some dumb shit for your whole life too, right? And that'd be weak. So weak and strong is an interesting thing, because what is strong and what is weak, and what is it to stand there and to take the hit? Is that strength? Or is it to do damage? Is that strength? Well, then you got regret. So which is more regretful? And if you is it a good thing to feel regret and be upset about what you did? That ain't strength. So it was all the stuff that was coming, and so I figured it's a balance. It's just balance of not to be ashamed to turn the other cheek, not to be obviously never. I was hard against that, because that was weak. How you gonna let somebody hit you, you little bitch? And then I got older, and I'm like, I realized the person who can stand in the chaos without change, without flailing and coming out of their comfort, wins, right? So it's not the hit. The person who turns the other cheek is thinking about the whole battle, the sacrifice to gain the knowledge, to understand like a father and look beyond. You wouldn't hit your child if your child swung at you, because you want to teach him. That's not what we do. All right, but you don't care about teaching people out there, your brothers and sisters. Okay, so you swing back, and you're violent to hit. You're quick to hit, and you're quick to conflict. And it's interesting how I grew from one side all the way to the other side. It's and perspective, and using perspective to understand all these things, and this is pretty interesting. Oh, and then like sacrifice. Okay, so in the Bible it talks about people sacrificing like crazy stuff, right? And I was like, man, I don't know about that. I skip by that part. That's weird. That's strange. And then I was like, through this situation where I inflicted my own damage upon myself, and I sacrificed it myself, and in that I could hate, or I could gain knowledge and wisdom by looking at the situation through a different eye and saying, hey, I'm responsible. I definitely could have made better choices. And the choices I made created a consequence. And the consequence is a very big sacrifice to the life I had. I feel. But then I started thinking about it. And I was like, well, let's look at it from different angles and use perspective. And then what I come up with is, what did you lose? Material possessions, a lot of material possessions. Okay. Was it any lives saved? Any lives lost? There's life that experienced something different than it had before due to my involvement in a good way. So that's okay. That's good. Then I started weighing it out, and then I come to realize that I'm 50. Can't really take the shit with me. I'm single. I don't have no kids. My dad, he's older than me. So really, what did you lose? Comfort. Lost my comfort. I lost. Okay, I did lose some things. So I lost. Okay, so all my pictures were erased and all my contacts. So that was an interesting loss. There's other things, but the pictures, it was kind of interesting because without your proof that you are who you are, well, if let's say you do videos and you like talking to people that are online, and you lose all their contact information, you lose everybody, and all the pictures to go with it, and then you smoke some good green and sit down on the couch halfway asleep and start thinking, man, did any of this really happen? Well, where's my proof? It's kind of trippy. It's a little bit trippy because it's like, well, I'm gone. Like somebody else has one of my platform things that I used to put up. They took it over and they're running it now, and that's freaking weird. And I sent him a message. I said, damn, man. I said, you're a good looking guy. It's me though, because they got my shit. I said, oh, you funny, and I wish I was you. And they sent me like a laughy face. But it's kind of interesting. And then I thought, okay, I used a perspective on that too, and I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. If somebody likes you enough to steal your shit and post it and feel confident and feel good about themselves trying to be you. I was like, huh, that's pretty weird, man. That's interesting. Huh, that's cool. So, yeah, it's a weird deal. It's a weird deal. But I was just trying to express the growth, some growth. And maybe if there's some people out there that are stuck in a victim role. I was stuck in a victim role back in the day when I was young. And I was forced out of it by a boys' rant. Borrowed boys' rant, to give them credit. But they pulled me out of it. They forced me to do everything I didn't want to do. All the things what you don't want to do, get up and do that, okay? And the things you do want to do, don't worry about that. You'll be all right, okay? So, do what you don't want to do. Don't worry about what you want to do, okay? Because the stuff you don't want to do, that's the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is going to give you that sacrifice. And that sacrifice is going to gain knowledge, okay? It's just like in the Bible when people sacrifice crazy stuff. Well, let's say you sacrifice your child, okay? You're going to go through an experience that you have never been through, and you ain't going to get without that. And if you can perceive it in a positive way in the end, somehow, I don't know, I can't do that, I'm not sure. No. Probably, maybe not, I don't know what happened, okay? With the Lord's help, you can do anything, but I don't want to think about it. So they're gaining a type of knowledge. Once the boomerang psychologically back to normal, if you can. You may not be able to, but in that you're going to have an experience that nobody else is going to comprehend, and that brings me to this. I come to I don't know. Okay, today's thoughts is that this world is boot camp. Okay, we're taking it way too freaking serious. Okay, this world, we're taking it too serious, and when you're putting so much pain on yourself because of mistakes, it's not It's just boot camp. It's like going to school and you missed your spelling test and you're going to go and jump off a cliff or something, right? It's not worth it, okay? Just relax and think about these things for a minute, okay? If somebody is told to sacrifice their kid or sacrifice things on an altar, that is training, okay? That's got it. There's no other reason. I thought it was crazy when I heard it because it made no loving sense, okay? It doesn't make sense for a loving God to do these things. But if you're in boot camp, and in boot camp you need to go to war, and in war you're gonna have experiences that are hard. The boot camp got to be hard. But if everything's upside down and backwards, then we go to war. Then what would be upside down and backwards? That would be going to boot camp of love, respect, forgiveness, love and forgiveness, and being humble, being the opposite of war, and that's the Bible. And I was like, oh, that's a trick. So, I mean, it's all, if you just look at it face value, which I never really did, I just judged it. But if you look at it face value, stop the judgment, and just like, somehow this all came to me, interestingly, that if you were to do these things, that you would have these growth. If you could go through these bad and terrible hard times, and you're going to have a growth that is new, and if you can perceive it to be positive growth, then you're going to gain something great out of it. If you play the victim and everything hurts you, and then you're going to go stand on your soapbox and say that everything's bad and this is why, and I'm going to prove it, well, then that's your choice. You get a choice. We get choices. And then why else would this world always be hard? It's hard. Everything's hard. If you're rich, it's hard. It's temptation is hard. You got all the things you can get in the world, so that's a lot of temptation. That's hard. And when you're poor, it's hard because you ain't got nothing. You don't know the temptation of being able to buy everything. You didn't recognize the difficulty in that, to be a normal person through that, and to be poor without money, and to struggle and try to become a normal person within that. It's all hard. Everything's hard. There's no reason I can make a world that's not all hard. It's engineered that way because it's boot camp, and you're just getting trained to become to be the example that Jesus is. So your example is the only thing that matters. Okay, when you get old like me and crispy and crunchy, and you look back, you're gonna look back at one thing. Where did the people go that followed me? That's your example. Okay, the people that followed me ended up where? And you're gonna feel good about it, or you're gonna feel bad about it. Okay, and you're gonna judge yourself on that right there. You're gonna say, hey, look at me, I'm a good person. I like myself. I love myself. That's great. Or, holy fuck, what the hell did I do? I'm a piece of shit. And you're not going to take that in, okay? Because that's too hard for anybody to take in, so you're going to deflect at that point and out into the world and say, and you're going to take your arm like this and point. And that pointing is taking the hurt that's inside of you and it's pushing it out and releasing it to the world because you can't take it. And that's okay. And that's understanding, to be understanding. That you understand that could have very well been me. I could have very well done that. Or judgment, because I'm born without picking my parents. Okay, I'm born without picking this meat skin I got on. So how can I judge the person standing across from me when they didn't pick theirs and I could have very well been them? The chances of me being me are what, and the chances of me being them are the same, right? So we just need to be thankful if we're better off. You know, if I'm better off than the person standing across from me, I ain't judging. I'm thankful. Thank you, Lord. I thank you for the blessings. I feel blessed. That's it. It's kind of interesting. It's trippy shit. Trippy. Yeah. But you don't get that without that good trauma. Get some good trauma in you, and then you got to decide what you're going to do with it. You're going to You want just waller? You want to lay there and waller in it and love on it and be the victim of lifetime longs and tell everybody, look at the scabs and wounds on me. I just went through hell. Or are you going to stand up and say, what did I do to end up there? What can I do different to better myself rather than that? Because what happens if you don't take responsibility for anything, for some part, and whatever, then you're not gonna look at yourself. You're gonna just be like, you know what? It's that I'm pointing on that, and that's the problem right there, and you walk away. You ain't looking at yourself. All right. So what happens there is you're never gonna grow, because without looking at yourself and thinking, okay, what adjustments do I need to make to become better? That's growth. That's when you grow. But if you just blame and find a reason for the world to find a reason for you to be a victim, then you can just walk off. Just walk off. Like I don't know, this might be mean to say, but I had somebody I was best friends with for a long time, 20 years, and they got mad and blamed everything on me. Everything was my fault. Everything was this, and called me the meanest freaking names you could imagine. I don't know what the hell. And I talked to him like a couple years later, and they had the audacity to say, "Well, have you done any growing?" I was like, "Huh?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, I looked at myself, and I evaluated the situation, and I found faults, and I worked on them. Yeah, I've done a lot of growth. I said, well, lucky for you, you didn't do anything wrong, so you could just stay the same. I thought it was pretty good diss. I felt pretty good about it. But it's kind of like this. That's the conclusion, though. It's growth is hard, and to be the victim is hard. We just got to pick whatever hardship. Just getting up on time's hard, and rushing to work is hard. You just got to pick it. You know what I mean? Staying up late's hard, and getting up early's hard. You pick one. This is it. It's just decisions. All right, I'm tired. I'm out of here. Peace out, homies. Oh, yeah. You evaluate the counselor situation, or therapist, or trauma rehabilitator. You just let me know. I guess you don't have to. Never mind. Because it wasn't even me anyways. It was the Lord. So then I'd be just trying to take credit for it. You know what I mean? All right. So, I don't know. Good luck.